First of all, very nice to see you all. I am in an irregular setting for these videos. I'm down in Southern Utah for the Southern Utah Media Services conference tomorrow. And so I'm down here presenting from a hotel room, which is awesome. But it's good to see everyone here. It's good to see you if you're not watching this live on YouTube. Good to see you there. Today we are covering our last level 1, level 2 certification video. The focus today is on Google Calendars, but then also we're going to drop a few things about Drive and then Chrome that we haven't covered in previous sections that are kind of small things, but they're definitely things that you need to know for the test and also just good to know in general. As always, our format today will be that we're going to spend about 15 minutes on level 1, 15 minutes on level 2. Today, because of the amount of the content and the kind of the quickness of some of it, we might go a little bit faster. It might be 10 minutes and 10 minutes. But then after both of those sessions, or those sections, we will spend some time with some helpful hints. And I got some good ones for you today, so I'm excited for that as well. As we go through, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. And forgive any slowness. Stay with me. I'm usually on a double monitor computer. Today I'm on a single monitor, and it's a little bit of a different setup. So if I foul up a little bit, I am so sorry. All right, with that said, I'm going to jump in with a couple things. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. There we go. On the screen, you're going to see our Google site for the trainings that we've been doing over the course of the last few weeks. And this is the last one of them. You can find the site at bit.ly/all-caps-UEN fall Google. On there, you're going to find all the materials about me and then UEN and all the links to the previous materials as well. On there, on the left-hand side, you can see here's all the menus with all the materials by the video that we worked with, as well as some ideas from GEGUtah. And then the slides where all this material came from Google. So Google provides, this is the material that we are going to put on the test. They don't tell us the questions, obviously, but they do tell us what material is going to be available on there. And these are the things that are on these slides. So if you need to review and look through it for yourself, feel free to do so. They're just linked right there. And please feel free to share this with any educators, anybody that you think would benefit from getting certified in Google level 1, level 2, feel free to grab that. Now, quick thing really quick, if you are a Utah teacher, well, actually, if you're a teacher anywhere and you're watching this, UEN, Utah Education Network, we offer a level 1 and a level 2 class where you can get state credit in Utah or SUU credit for college. But as part of that class now, we are offering free vouchers to get certified. So level 1, level 2, which is a $10 for level 1 and a $25 fee for level 2. If you complete the coursework through UEN, we are giving you those tests for free. And right now it's anybody who takes the class. So after you're done watching these videos and you want to complete that course, feel free to do so, and then we'll get you a voucher as soon as you're ready to take the test and you've got all your materials in. That started last week, just after our last session, and I'm very excited to announce that and share that with everyone. So feel free to take advantage of that over the next couple of weeks and get Google certified and meet that goal. All right, today where we're going to spend most of our time, again, is on Google and Drive. We're going to spend a little bit on Chrome as well, but these are all the essential tasks for level 1, level 2, and then I've got some helpful hints down below that we can work with as well. So as we go through, feel free to keep an eye on these sections. And again, if you have questions as we go through, I do have the chat open. I'd be more than happy to answer questions there, or you can save them up until the end of our session too, and I will be happy to answer them then as well. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and jump over to the meat of our schedule today, which is Google Calendar. So we're going to spend a lot of time on Google Calendar today. Probably one of my favorite applications that I didn't know would become one of my favorites until I became a professional teacher. And then all of a sudden, everything just went straight on Calendar. And it's been so helpful for me to keep track of assignments in my classes for when I was teaching K-12, as a trainer to keep track of sessions that I'm going to train on in the next couple of weeks. And then also just making sure that I can work with my teammates as well. So one of the things I did when I was a teacher was I would share my calendar with my colleagues in my department, and we would kind of try and find times to PLC throughout the week, the month, those sorts of things. And I do the same thing with my calendars here at UEN as well. And we'll see some of that here in a little bit. So let's dive in. You can go ahead and follow along if you'd like to on Google Calendars, or you're welcome to watch me do all of the material as well. Either way is great with me. All right, the first thing we're gonna do, I found an empty week, the week of Christmas. which I don't have anything on yet. So I wanted to toss that in there and have a clear week so we can play around with it and add some things. So the first thing that Google wants you to know for level 1 is to be able to create a new calendar. So to do that, we have this big create button up here in the top left. We're going to go ahead and click create. That gives us an event right here. So I just want to show you because that's where your instinct would go a lot of times, is that we go, oh, I need to create something, we need a calendar, I'm going to go right there. In actuality, where you want to go is down to the bottom here, and there says other calendars, and you're going to hit your plus sign, and it's going to allow you to create a brand new calendar right there. So I just, again, where I'm going to show you 2 spots. So the big create button in the top left, that'll give you a new event that you can create for the day, the week, the month, or a repeating event, which we'll look at later. Or you can go to other calendars, click the plus sign, and you can start a new calendar. We're going to go ahead and do that, and it'll open up, and I'm just going to create a GEGUtah training calendar. Now notice a couple things about this is that you can add a description there. You can change the time zone. So if you're going to be, maybe it's a calendar for a trip and you know that you're going to be in a different time zone, maybe you're going to England or something like that, or East Coast, you can change the time zone there so that it matches what you're going to be doing there. It tells you your owner and then your organization. And when you hit create, that calendar then goes onto your left-hand panel here with all of your other calendars. So you can see right, let's see, where is it? GEG. There's a Utah calendar. Sometimes it takes a second to load up, but it does come follow through there for you in a few minutes. So just know that it'll show up here on the left-hand side for you. And if for some reason it doesn't, go ahead and add a second one. That'll be great. All right, the second thing they want you to know is to add an event. So up here in the top left, if we click create under the plus sign, this is where we can get our event. Now it drops a little blue box and it's defaulted to a 1 hour segment. I'll show you how to change that 1 hour to a half hour or even 15 minutes in a little bit, but it always defaults to an hour segment. From there, we can then drag that around to the appropriate time, or we can change the time in our event right here as well. All right, so we're going to add a title to this. I'm just going to call this GEGUtah sample event. There we go. Notice that you get some options right across the top. Now, Google doesn't have these for level 1. They're going to look at those for level 2, but we're going to look specifically at appointment slots, but know that you also have the options for focus time. That's where you're kind of clearing out your calendar. Nobody can schedule a time with you at that time, and it just kind of blocks it out for you to focus on a project, an idea, or for yourself. They added this as a mental health sort of calendar option over COVID. Out of office, and then task. So you have a task that you need to complete at that time, and it gives you that section. Then you have your date, your time, and then you also have find a time. Now find a time, if you're going to add a guest and you have access to their calendar, it will compare that person's calendar to yours and allow you to find a time that works for both parties. Now in here, they also want you to be able to set an event to repeat. So if I click on the date right here, it's going to give me some options right here. So I can say this is an all-day event, and that'll mark the whole day out as GEG sample event on the 21st. Now, if I do that, it's going to move it to the very top. If I want it for a specific time band, like from like 8 to 3, then I would need to change right here from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it gives me a longer block instead of an all day. Now, right here, one of the things I want you to know is how to make it repeat. So it does not repeat, but then you can have the options for daily, weekly on Tuesday, monthly on the 3rd Tuesday, annually on December 21st, so it recognizes the day for the next year, every weekday, Monday to Friday, or you can do a custom and say, I want it every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Until this week or after this date. So you can really granularly get down to exactly what you need to share and what kind of events you're going to have on your calendar. For right now, I'm just going to leave that as does not repeat, but that's exactly where you would do it and set it up. All right. Next thing they'd like you to know is how to add some guests and some colleagues. So just right here, you can click add guests. And then as soon as you start typing their name, I'm just going to type in one of my other emails. I can click that and it adds that person as a guest to my project. I can always take them off that as well just by clicking remove. All right. Underneath here, we also get a couple other really great options. One of them is to add Google Meet video conferencing. So in prior videos, we've looked at how to add Google Meet from the Google Meet page. We've added Google Meet from our email page. This is a third option for us as well. And it's the one that I most commonly use. Although we are, a lot of schools are using Zoom or WebEx or other options, Google does make it really easy to just click one button here and add video conferencing and send it out to everyone who has access to that event. And so instead of trying to figure out and send codes and copying and pasting, it's just there, it sends to the person when you're done. Underneath that, you can add rooms or locations. And then finally, we get to add a description. So right there, we can type in our notes. We have a whole word processing there, and it's fairly long. Last time I think I used it, had about 1,000 word or 1,000 characters. I'm sure it's gotten bigger than then. You can also create meeting notes now directly inside of here. So if it's just a one click and it creates a notes document attached to the event. So when you go into that event, everyone has access to those notes and can write on them. But also you can click add attachment and then add any document from your Google Drive. So let's say that you are meeting with a parent or with your principal or your admin, and you need to share notes from your class or a lesson plan, or maybe a series of links. This makes it really easy to just do one click and then hit select, and that is now attached. Now you do have all the options across, so recent, shared drive, or sorry, my drive, shared with me, or you can upload a file from your computer, so PDF, a picture, those sorts of things. I'm going to cancel right now because I don't need to add anything to this, but that is exactly, again, right down here under add attachments. The last thing down here is which calendar is this event happening on. So right now it's under my calendar of Matt Winters. If I click that, then I can go ahead and choose the actual calendar that I'd like it to be a part of, like for instance, GEGUtah. And there it is, it changes color and it's right there ready to go. And it's going to show up with anybody who has that calendar shared with them as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share this with me again to another email to show you one quick thing that they'd like you to know. So once you add that person, now they can access all this material and all that great stuff that we've added to our event, including the Google Meet information. So we click save, and what's good is that it's automatically going to ask you, do you want to send an invitation email to the Google Calendar guests? And so from there, that sends an email directly to the people that are listed and invited, even if their email isn't a Gmail account. So it sends all that information to them, to their email, it's ready to go. And they have access to the docs, to the Google Meets information and the repeating event. From there as well, sending that just sends it out and makes it clear. Now, once you've saved one event and then you go back in and let's say you add a new note or some more materials, or maybe you need to cancel event, then this will pop up again once you make edits and send the changes out to that same group of people that you sent the original event to. It's really slick and easy to make sure that you're good to go. Let's say I made a mistake, like I added the wrong person. I'm just going to go in there and click back to editing, click save. And now that's just me on it. It's just going to save that event on the GEG calendar. All right. Next thing they want you to know is how to duplicate an event. So if we go in here, click on the options. So right up here at the top of the event. So this is after I've saved it. I'm back on December 21st. I click on it and I get all of the materials. So this gives me the Google Meet information, the notes that we put on there. It tells me which calendar it's on, all of that information. Up here at the top though, we have more options now. So the first one is to edit the event. This will take us back into that screen, allow us to change everything up, make sure you're good to go. Delete event, which happens sometimes. Sometimes we have people cancel or things happen with our schedule. We need to delete events. It's just right there with the trash can. The last thing right here is options. So if I click that, I get print. So that gives all the information. It'll print off, give it all out as a handout if I need to. I can copy to a plethora of calendars. I can publish the event, which is helpful if you're working with parents or like parent-teacher conferences, or you want to have like an open office hour with college students or something like that. You can click publish event and then everyone will have access to it on a public website. You can change the ownership, which I used a lot to do PTCs last year with teachers, as I would set up all their calendar events for them, change them to owner so they have access on their Google Meet calls to do all the settings that they needed to. The biggest one that Google wants you to know that's directly in their notes though is to duplicate. So if I click duplicate, it's going to take me back in give me the same information that I have here that I'd already set up, including the notes and the Google Meet call. And then I can just change the date if I need to and click save. So notice that's a duplicate of that first event. So now I have it on 2 days. Sometimes we might need to have the same event twice. Maybe we want everyone to come on 2 days. Maybe you have a repeating class. One of the biggest events that I did over the last 6 months for something like this was repeating events for Utah's Portrait River graduates competency groups. And we had an event that repeated every single day that went on our calendar, which was really great. All right, almost done with level 1, but a couple things that they want you to know. Again, I'm just gonna go back into the event, click options, and again, there's that print option. And if I click that, it's just gonna give me the event and allow me to print all of that information as well. So it makes it really simple. All right, to create, one of the things they want you to know as well, and I'm gonna have to open my Gmail account just really quickly. I forgot that I needed that today, is that you would want to be able to start an event from Gmail as well. So just saying, I got a question here. Heidi says, what would be the advantages to duplicating the event versus just setting up a repeating event? If you have the same group of people that are going to be at the event, if you duplicate, all those people get re-invited. All the information is the same as well. So the Google Meet call is the same. So you don't have to copy and paste, or you don't have to, you can avoid all of that extra kind of worry that people have about where's the event at? What are we doing? Those sorts of things. It's just all on the same event every single time. So I hope that helps, Heidi. It's really helpful, especially with large scale groups, trying to get them all to the same place for like a starting chat or discussion. That way you have that same information every week. A lot of teachers that use Google Meet as their kind of their point of contact for their students during COVID was having that same event every single day with the same Google Meet call. And Pam adds on, sometimes an event doesn't repeat at a regular interval. Exactly. Sometimes you need it at 1 week to the next week. Maybe it's on a different day the next week. Maybe it's a different day the next month, those sorts of things. So it allows you to duplicate it, move it to the day that you need it to be on there, and all that information is the same for everyone next time. All right. So I'm actually going to skip this one for a minute because I'll come back to it later. We're going to spend some time in Calendar and in Gmail just in a second. But the first thing, we'll come back to that again later. We're going to look at Drive really quick. We've kind of glossed over Drive, and I do want to spend some time on it because we spent so much time on Gmail, but we didn't spend a whole lot of time on Drive. And they do have a few things that are really essential for teachers to know in Drive. And we'll come back to that creating a calendar event in Gmail here in a few minutes. So in Drive, they want you to know a couple things. And by the way, I am terrible at Drive. I used to be like, my Drive when I was a teacher had like 200 gigabytes worth of stuff in there, videos and all sorts of things that I was working on with students. And it just becomes this kind of giant mess. But they do offer some really great solutions to stay organized. So first thing that they want you to know in Drive for level 1 to do is be able to click new up in the top left-hand corner, and create a new folder. So if I click new and folder, it's going to give me that space and allow me to title that folder. I'm just going to title this GEGUtah sample. Click create, and that's going to go ahead and open up down below right there. You can see they want you to be able to share that with a colleague. So if I click on the folder with 2 fingers, so my right click, it's going to give me the options here. And as you can see, there's that share option. And it's just like any other time that I share anything on Google. It has the option to send it to a single person, or I can open it up to an entire organization or make it public on the web. They want you to be able to change the folder color. So if you click on that again, right down here, it says change color, and then you have a plethora of colors. I used to use this when I was really effectively using Google Drive to separate finalized projects with students from unfinalized or in progress projects. So green would be done, set aside, early in the year, finished, those sorts of things, whereas red would be ongoing. So when I went through my Drive, it would be really easy to spot those specific things. All right, inside of these as well, so we can create another folder inside of this. Oh, sorry, not upload folder, cancel. One of the things that I really love about Google Drive is that you can just have a giant organizing folder, but then you can share that individual folder inside the folder. So folderception there to a single group as well. So right here, this is just a folder inside of GEGUtah sample, and I can share that with an individual and only be able to see inside that folder. It's something that I use kind of frequently with students to get them the material that they want really, really quickly as well. All right, with that said, we'll come back to Gmail in a little bit. That is everything you need to know for level 1 for Drive and for Calendar. All right, so the next thing that we want to cover really quickly is level 2. So the first thing is in Calendar, we need to be able to set up appointment slots. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my calendar really quickly. I am going to start a brand new event just right here. And as we talked about earlier, there are some options right at the top to do appointment slots right here. So we have our focus time, our out of office, our task, and then we have appointment slots. So let's go ahead and click that. This will go ahead and give us a date and a time, so 10:30 to 11 a.m., and you can extend this out. So for like parent-teacher conference, if you know you're going to be in a parent-teacher conference situation for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, you can set that up from like 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 or whatever it might be. And it will ask you, okay, I want slots with duration or a single slot. Slots with duration, how long do I want those time appointments to be? Well, I want just 10 minutes. So there we go. And then I click save. And now I can see right here, there's a little matrix of squares right next to the title of the event. That tells me that this is an appointment slot now. So if I click on that, this gives me an appointments page for that calendar. And now I can send that out to whoever I want to be working with me during that time period. There we go. And they can sign up for an event by clicking on one of these spots. So like right here, if I wanted a spot, cool, just click save. And now I have an appointment slot for that time. So if I go back to my calendar, now notice that I have my appointment slots with a square, but I also have a single appointment and it has one guest, it's me. Really, really helpful for working with parents during PTC, really helpful for coordinating with students or with groups. Just a really fantastic way to make sure that everyone has an appointment, that appointment time is met. And if you're adding things like documents to it or a Google Meet, it goes across that as well, which is really nice. All right. Next thing that we want to talk about is some Chrome stuff really quickly. So we haven't talked about Chrome at all in these sessions just because it's been one of the things I put on the back burner. So this is a couple things from Chrome that are pretty cool, pretty straightforward though, and very much in level 2. So I'm just going to switch over to Chrome really quickly, and I got to go out really quick. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to switch over to Chrome. There we go. Minimize that. All right, so we're in Chrome now, and there's a couple things that they want you to know. Most of them are about tabs at the top. So right here, we have our tabs for Chrome. And the reason why I'm switching over is I was using Safari. I'm on a Mac. It was just easier. It was the one that pulled up quickest today. And now I'm on Chrome here. Now, Chrome up at the top, we know that this is our tab for our search bar. So the first thing they want you to know is that you can set to pin the tab. So if you go ahead and right click on your tab, there's a little button right here that says pin. Now what pin does, as you can see right here, is it just kind of minimizes all that information across and gives you just a little space at the top, and it doesn't allow you to close it from that position. So if you're the type of person that has, like me, butterfingers, where you accidentally close tabs that you really needed and you make mistakes that way, Chrome makes it really easy that you will not close those tabs in their browser. Now, on top of that, they want you to know how to create a bookmark. So I'm just going to go quickly to uen.org. And I'm going to go ahead and click on my star right here. This gives me my bookmark this tab. And I can go ahead and either add a bookmark or I can add a reading list. The reading list kind of self-clears over as you read things, but bookmark puts it on your whole tab the rest of the time you're using it until you delete it. And what's nice is that you can tell it's just right there, it's starred and it's ready to go. And we can go over to our bookmarks and there's my bookmark right there. On my desktop, my Windows desktop, it actually shows up down here on the bar as well, which I believe we can just click right there, and there we go, we got our bookmarks. All right. Next thing they want you to know is searching. So I'm just going to go and do a Google search, and this is on UEN. This is one thing to really note really quickly as well, is that this little bar where we're searching things, Google has it very much termed the Omni box. Okay, so on the test, if they say how do you use the Omni box, or a question about the Omni box, they're talking about Chrome. They're talking about this bar where you search things or you type in URLs, and they call it the Omni box because it's searching, and it's also giving us that material to type in URLs. So I'm gonna go ahead and search that. There's UEN right there at the top. We have our normal options here: books, news, video, images, all that jazz. We've got more right here, okay? But if we go ahead and hit tools, then we start getting our results at any time. And if we go over to our settings gear over here on the right, we can go ahead and hit advanced search. This gives us all of our materials to do more advanced searching within Chrome to make it clearer for everyone as we go right. So first thing, like for instance, we can go ahead and search for specific words. We can do exact words or phrases, numbers. We can search specific languages, regions, last updates. We can search a specific site or domain, do terms appearing, files type, and probably the one that I use the most is usage rights, which they have the licenses there: free to use or share, free to use or share even commercially, free to share or modify, or free to share, use, share, or modify even commercially. This is great for your students to look for open educational resources, as well as materials that they don't have to worry about copyright for, like music or documents as they go through projects in your class. I use it in this way kind of sparingly, but when I use image search, I'm definitely looking for images that I can use, share, or modify even commercially, just because I want to make sure I have an image that I know I don't have to worry too much about copyright law. All right. See, Pam, you added a great point here. Is it right that the Google Calendar appointment slots can only be filled by those with Google accounts? This has been limiting for us with our SEPs. I'll have to check on that. I'll get back to you. I'll shoot you an email. As far as I know, yes, they do need to have a Google account, which is a limiting factor for some parents. We ran into that last year when I was doing PTC with parents, but most parents were willing to get a Google account for that. But I'll check and see if that's changed over the last year and get back to you on that as well. Ms. Prescott, how do I sync my bookmarks with different devices? That's one that I'm not a full expert on, but I do know that you can import your bookmarks and settings right here, and you can go through that and grab those. There's your sync and your Google services right there that you might. And Pam says you just need to be logged into Chrome. That's probably your easiest way, which is just right here in the top left. You can see that I'm not using it logged in because I'm not on my Google or my Gmail account right now. Awesome. All right, let's continue on. We got 2 more things on level 2 to just jump into. The first one they want you to do is be able to add an extension to Chrome. So I'm just going to go ahead and Google search Google extensions. And I'm going to grab my favorite one right here. So it's going to be the Chrome Web Store. When we search the store, I'm going to search for one that every teacher in the state of Utah should know right now, which is Scribble. It is a great new tool that the state has paid for to do research. And you can see that I already have it in the top left here. So we'll actually probably show you a different one here in a second. But you can see how quick that is. Searching the Chrome Web Store, you find the app that you need, and then you're able to click on it. And right now I'm just going to remove it from Chrome. And then all you do when you have a new one that you need to add, just hit add to Chrome, and that adds to your browser just like that. It's right there. You can turn on your sync right there if you need to, but now I have Scribble ready to go and I can use it. Now all of your extensions are in the top right-hand corner of your screen under this little puzzle piece. And if you click it, you can see your extension, and then also you can pin your extension so it doesn't disappear on you if you're not using it. Super helpful if there's like 3 or 4 extensions you're using all the time, every day, like Scribble and other things. I personally use Scribble quite a bit, and then also Wakelet and a few other extensions just to find and keep curation of resources. So that's how you add an extension to your toolbar. Pretty straightforward, but it's something that some teachers don't 100% know how to do, but it can really save your bacon as far as adding different things to your Chrome capability. Remember, that's really the big basis of Chrome extensions is being able to add usability to your applications or to Chrome. And in this case with Scribble, it allows you to click on any web page and add it to a resource list for citations for a paper. All right, the last one here is to do some really fun little things that Google has. So the first one, I'm just going to go ahead and search timer. I don't know if you know this, but Google actually has a timer. If you just click timer, and then you can click on it and change the amount of time that you need, and it'll have a little sound for you at the end. You can also do quick calculations. So like 2 + 2 =, and it'll give you the calculation right there as well. So really kind of fun. Notice that it also is a scientific calculator. So students who have a Chromebook and they say, oh, I don't have a scientific calculator in my class. Well, they do. It's just on Chrome, and teachers, or especially math teachers, should know that. So little fun things like that, knowing that you can set a timer, you can do calculations. There's lots of little fun things that Google has built into the Omnibox to make a difference in how we do things and the speed at which we do things. All right, that is everything you need to know for level 2 from Calendar and from Chrome. And now let's move on to some helpful hints, some helpful tips that you might need to know for the test, but also just for good teaching strategy. So the first thing I want to jump back to, I'm just going to close that page because I can just do my Safari now with all my apps on it. The first thing I want to talk about is on your calendar really quick. If we go to our options, so here's my Matt Winters calendar right here. I'm going to go ahead and click the 3 dots right next to it and click settings and sharing. Well, I can go ahead and go on here and see all my settings for this. I can see who I've shared the calendar with. I can make it public, available for everyone in my network, those sorts of things. But then also, I believe it's in your settings actually. So this gives you all the stuff about your individual calendars. But if we go up to our settings, sorry, that's up here in the top right, then we can also add secondary time zones. So right here, I can go ahead and click that, and I can add a secondary time zone to what I'm doing. So like, for instance, let's say that I'm working with somebody, maybe I have a program where I'm working with a teacher in California, and I always forget that California is an hour behind us. They're like, right now it's 3:34, it's 2:34 for them. I always think they're ahead of us, so that's 4:34 in California. Don't know why, but I've met like 10 people this month that have that same thought. I can add a secondary time zone to my calendar to show that. I can also add a world clock and add a time zone to that world clock within my calendar so I can check time zones as I go through. There's lots of other settings within your calendar as well. We don't have time to go through all of them, but I would definitely recommend going through these settings right here and just kind of looking through them and seeing if there's anything that is of use to you. And Google does update these settings quite frequently, a couple times a year, and adds more things to them. It's definitely recommended to see what's new as well. All right. Oh, in there as well, sorry, I forgot about this as well. If I go back into my settings as well and hit my event settings, right here it says under event settings, I can go ahead and click the default duration. So when I create a new event, it automatically starts it as an hour. Well, I can also set it to say, okay, my default duration for meeting is 30 minutes. Now, anytime I click inside of my calendar, I'm just going to go back to it really quickly. It's now a 30 minute time setting. So instead of being an hour, it's 30 minutes. I know I've got my 30 minutes. This is kind of helpful if you know you're going to set up a bunch of events in order, and you want to have a specific time duration for those events that is less than 60 minutes. So if you want to set up a bunch of appointments with parents, maybe 3 or 4 of them, and you want to do them for 15 minutes, that way you can click really quickly and make sure you're good to go. Ooh, Pam, I'm going to have you jump on at the end and tell us what MD, I'm guessing that's month, day, week, year. I'm not sure what N is though. Jump on for us.
Sorry, I just went out of my office. I'm not on my, let me plug in my other monitor. Yeah, the thing I like about them is they're not with shift control or anything. They're just the plain letter. So they're really easy to remember. So it's month, day, year, week, view. And I think N is new, if I remember, to add an event. Maybe. Do you want to try it out?
This is fantastic. I haven't used this one before. That is really nice.
Yeah, click N. Is that the right one? Oh, there's a shortcuts right there. Does that give you a new event? Or maybe it's a C for
I think
create. I can't remember that one.
N is next week.
Okay, what's C? There's one for create and I can't remember. Maybe it's E.
It is C, absolutely.
C, yes, that's a quick way to create a new event.
Ooh, and if we push the space bar, thanks, Jeannie, then we get all of our options as well, it looks like. So that is some really cool help there, guys. Love all of those options. That is like, I'm not big on keyboard shortcuts sometimes for some reason. I don't know, it's stuck in my head not to use them all the time. But now that I know that for calendar, I'm always going up here to the top and going, okay, which calendar view am I in? Am I in day, week, month, year? That definitely makes it easier.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I guess those are the only ones I can remember because I don't. So.
All right, and we've talked a little bit about a couple other helpful hints as well throughout, and we're pushing up against time here. Share on your calendar with your team or make it public to embed on a site or an LMS. Again, that is in your calendar settings. So if you just hover over a created calendar over here on the left-hand side, settings and sharing, then you can choose right here. Here's your access permission for events. Make it public. Is it everyone for your network? Show your calendar info and other apps. And then who are your specific people that you've shared this calendar with? So if you're working with a team like your department in your building, it's really helpful to check that out and hand off your calendar to other people so they can see what you're doing and coordinate. The last thing that I'm going to cover just really quick, going back to Gmail, is a little trick that I learned this week that's brand new. So I'm going to start a brand new message. And I absolutely love this. So if I go ahead and type in, I'm just going to type in my other email address here. I'm adding a person right here. And if you're like me, you always forget, or you're always trying to copy and paste people's email information. Maybe you need them for somewhere else on another page, or maybe you need to make an email list or something like that. Well, now if you right click on a person's name that's in your email, you get your hotkeys there for copy and paste, but then also all the other hotkeys for change your name, email address, more information, all that stuff. And that's just an ad from this, I think, last Wednesday or Thursday from Google. Just to make it easier for all of us to copy and paste information directly out of our Gmail account as well. All right, I think that is everything. A couple things to kind of wrap up, folks. Again, all of the information for this session is on our GEG and UEN open training for this year. It's bit.ly/UEN Fall Google. You can find my information on there as well. Here's my email, my Twitter, and then also this link to GEGUtah. If you are not a member, we would love to have you join. It is a free group for any teacher around the world. We have some teachers from other countries in the group, but we are focusing a lot on what we can do to help Utah teachers. And we open up that group to lots of open dialogue about sharing information, different ideas and different trainings that are happening. But also if you are a GEGUtah teacher, you get some recognition on the site with your photo and your information. And you can say, hey, my awesome admin, here is my photo on GEGUtah as a level 1, level 2, or coach, or I'm trying to get certified, and it just adds a little bit of profile to you as a teacher. So check that out. We'd love to have you join that and keep sharing. We actually added our 100th member today, which is crazy. It's been 3 months and we already got 100 members there. All of the videos for prior sessions are on these different individual pages. So here's our assignments and classroom page. There's a video. And again, all the essential skills and everything you need to know for those different trainings. Check those out. This is our last in our series for level 1, level 2, and just kind of a tip for the next couple of weeks. So next week, I am taking a week off from these training sessions to get caught up and get prepared for the next section. What we're going to do starting in 2 weeks from today, which going to my handy dandy calendar, 2 weeks from today is the 16th. We're going to start doing some trainings on applied digital skills, which are free lesson plans through Google that apply the skills from level 1, level 2 for your classrooms to do some really cool materials. It's pretty awesome. Excited to start sharing those and actually get some lesson plans shared out with our GEGUtah teachers as well as UEN.